Hello friends, welcome back to Quick Poetry Knowledge. This is Mehjabin. Today I am going to narrate the summary of the poem Cousin Kate. This poem was composed by Christina Rossetti. In the first stanza, the narrator of the poem presents herself as a woman living in a cottage in the countryside. She reflects on her bygone days when, as a maiden, she used to live in her small house with her family members or mates. She had loved her life outdoors, she enjoyed the sun and the air. She worked in a farm and was pleased with her life and her companions at her cottage. At that point of time, she had no idea that she was pretty and that men might be drawn to her beauty. A great lord came upon her in the farm. He began to pursue her. He tried to attract her attention by complimenting on her yellow-colored hair. The narrator remembers this moment with bitterness. In her moment of weakness, she began to care about this man. The Lord took her to his home, which was like a palace. He seduced her and began to enjoy her. The result was that the narrator was forced to live a shameless life, which also appeared shameful at the same time. The great Lord used her as a plaything. He became her lover, and she yielded to his amorous nature. He tied her to him just as one would tie a silken knot, and the next moment he abandoned her. Now this woman has no other choice but to cry over her forlorn state. Had she kept away from this man, she would have been as pure as a dove. But her physical involvement with him had made her unchaste. Next, the narrator addresses Kate, her cousin. She calls her Lady Kate, implying that her cousin belongs to a higher status in society. Kate grew more beautiful than the narrator. The great lord saw Kate at her father's farm and got smitten by her beauty. He abandoned the narrator of this tale, who was his mistress. Instead, he chose Kate. The lord watched Kate wandering about in the countryside. He saw her working in the rye fields. The lord married Kate, thereby lifting her from her humble origins. The reason why Kate could marry this lord was because she had not allowed herself to be seduced by him during her maidenhood. She had rejected his sexual advances, thereby she had managed to retain her chastity. The Lord was so relentless in his pursuit of her that he had tied her to him with a wedding ring. Now that Kate had become the great Lord's wife, the people in the neighborhood respected her, held her in high esteem, and considered her to be a noble and virtuous woman. On the other hand, the narrator was treated as an outcast by the neighbors. While she now sits on the ground lamenting over her condition, her cousin Kate sat enjoying all her privileges of being married to a man from an aristocratic background. The narrator implies that between the two cousins, Kate was the one with the stronger wings. As a result, she had become a lady. She had risen in society. Kate's cousin had the softer heart. She gave it to the Lord rather easily, and the result was that she ended up becoming his mistress instead of becoming a wife. In the fifth stanza, the speaker addresses Kate again, saying that her love for the Lord was real, while the love of Kate for the same man was not so strong, and it stood the chance of being washed away by the sands. If he had fooled Kate instead of marrying her, and if Kate faced the same situation the narrator was facing now, he would not have been able to win the affections of the narrator later. He wouldn't have been able to tempt her with his lands and property. The narrator would have rejected his advances. She would have spat on his face and would never have become his wife. Kate married the Lord despite knowing what he had done to her cousin. The speaker says that if she had witnessed her cousin Kate being used as a mistress and later deserted by her lover, the speaker, on her part, would never have accepted his offer of marriage. Yet, the speaker has a gift from that bygone relationship with the great Lord. This is a precious possession that Kate isn't likely to ever have. The speaker suspects that Kate is in a state of continuous anxiety, although she is married to a wealthy lord and has the best of clothes to wear. The speaker has a fair-haired son who clings to her bosom tighter and tighter. Kate's father would have given away all his lands if he had been able to sire a son. He would have been delighted by the prospect of a son inheriting his property. What the speaker actually implies is that her fair-haired son would be inheriting the great lord's vast fortunes one day, since he does not have a son from his marriage to Kate. Well, I do hope that you have understood this poem. I will be back soon with another tutorial. Until then, bye.